World War II, the deadliest war in history. With over 40 million deaths, it is by far the most devastating.
Many factors, people, battles, and stories come together to create the outcome of World War II, leaving us with remnants of lives fragmented in the face of the war.
Yet some of the most interesting stories are found behind the scenes.
The female spies of the Allied powers in World War II used hidden tactics to gather intel and influence the direction of the war.
These women, all with differing backgrounds and struggles, came together to help the SOE.
The SOE stands for Special Operations Executive, a British spy organization.
Of these women was Christina Starbuck, or known as Christina Granville for Alliance. Born in Poland, Christina Starbuck was an expert at performing intelligence missions to aid the Polish resistance. Before the war, she was known for smuggling cigarettes into Poland through secret ski routes. Her flirtatious and confident personality led her to become a well-known spy throughout the war. She had a fierce attitude and before the war participated in several beauty pageants. She could also speak many languages, including French, Polish, and English, making her very valuable as a spy. Christina Starbuck helped to spread propaganda supporting the Polish resistance throughout Hungary and Poland. In July of 1940, Starbuck joined the SOE, traveling to Poland carrying documents that described Germany's preparations to invade the Soviet Union. As time went on, the Polish began to become suspicious about Starbuck and believed that there were security issues given that she was a double agent. Because of this, Starbuck was forced to work only for the British. Her acts of secrecy led her to have wanted posters all over Poland. At the end of the war, Starbuck stayed in London. She died on June 15, 1952, at 44, stabbed to death by an envious and deranged ex-lover.
Hall was a talented linguist, a valuable skill in her line of work. Prior to the war, Hall had an injury, soon leading her to limp, which became her infamous name by the Germans. Hall soon became an undercover journalist at the start of the war. Her mission included coordinating the delivery of money as well as agents for French spy networks. In 1942, when Germany took over France, Hall escaped to Spain. She worked for the SOE out of Madrid and soon returned to London. After completing her work at the SOE, Hall began to work in America. She was sent to France, where she helped find safe zones to drop supplies and put safe houses. Hall retired to Barnesville, Maryland after working in the CIA for 15 years. She then died at the age of 76 in Rockville, Maryland.
WWII Khan was one of the most famous spies in World War II. She was the first female radio operator for the SOE. Khan was a princess, a descendant of Tipu Sultan. Early in Khan's life, her father moved her and her family to London. Later, they moved to Paris, where Khan was educated and learned French, something that would become important later on. As an adult, WWII Khan became a writer, mostly of children's stories as well as a musician. However, when France was taken over by Germany, Khan escaped to England. In November of 1940, Noor joined the Women's Auxiliary Air Force and in 1942 was recruited to the SOE. In training, many doubted her abilities as a spy, as she accidentally left secret codes lying around, and revealed that she was British by pouring milk into her cup before tea. Even so, she was one of the best radio operators that the SOE had, and in June of 1943, she was flown to France secretly to become a radio operator for the Phosphor Resistance Network in Paris. Codename Madeline, Khan posed as a children's nurse. Almost 10 days after her arrival, most of the members of her network were arrested. Instead of returning to Britain, Con refused to leave, trying to build the network up again. Con did the work of 6 radio operators. She moved around from place to place constantly and wore disguises to hide her appearance. Unfortunately, Con was betrayed as the Germans were able to intercept her signal. She was taken to Forsheim prison and was tortured. Even so, she didn't give up any information and was eventually taken to Dachau, a concentration camp. On September 13, 1942, Noor Inayat Khan was shot and killed.
All of these spies had a large influence on the outcome of World War II and were critical in aiding their countries to their path of victory. Knowing about the past can greatly impact how one views the present, and understanding these spies is important in learning how different people experienced World War II.